Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to F1 2016 Co-op Happy New Year edition with definitely Zero.
Bonza, mate. All right.
Bonza.
How are you doing, Cocker? It's. Well, I said that because I'm trying to. If my timing is right, at the moment I say that, we're about an hour away from New Year in Australia, I think.
Oh shit, yeah we are. Okay, because I forget that countries are 12 hours ahead. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, give or take. So I thought, I throw in a bit of a reference there for the Aussies amongst us.
Aw.
I'm doing pretty good. I had a pretty rough month. I've been a bit sick, been a bit up and down. Not got many videos out or anything, but I'm coming out of the dive now. Time for New Year.
Yeah,
New
well,
beginnings.
we need to all kind of get ourselves back on track again for 2017 and the year that will essentially become our internet domination, I'm sure.
Yes, it will. The target is £5 million by the end of the year, I believe.
Okay.
Before we go on, I've really been trying hard to take care of myself like the last 3 months. So I've given up all the sugary drinks and everything. I wish I could say I felt better, but that would be bullshit. So I have in my hand a Pepsi Wild Cherry,
Ooh.
imported from America, and I just want to read the back of the label to you.
Contain real fruit.
Partially produced with genetic engineering.
What?
Contains 0% juice.
They're not even trying to make it sound healthy.
So cheers, boys.
Yeah, cheers. I hope you survive. It reminds me of when I had a go at Mountain Dew. You can get that in some of the import sections over in the UK, and when you taste that, you can feel all the disgusting goodness going into your body and making you die. Yet you continue to chug down more.
Oh mate, it's full of corn syrup and high fructose and stuff, but you can taste the science. I don't care that it's genetically engineered and contains 0% juice. That is really good. And I don't see why we have all this stuff freaking out about natural stuff being better for you. I mean, would you rather have an iMac or a goat? To me, the argument doesn't hold up. So fuck it, science me all the way, baby.
An iGoat. Not only does it make you some hay, it makes you some spreadsheets.
The other thing, before we go on, is that I just want to draw everyone's attention to the fact that Roman Grosjean has doubled my points tally, and I cannot let that gap remain going into the new year. I think it sets a bad precedent.
It does, although you have 500% more points than I have. So
I don't believe that's ever happened before.
No, I seem to really be struggling on this specific season. So hopefully I'll get my shit together. And Canada has been traditionally not too bad for me in previous games. And I think I scored some points. Yes, I did in my single player career. So who knows?
I've never scored a point in Canada in all the years we've been doing this together.
Really?
Never. It's one of my, along with Silverstone, it's one of my bogey circuits. Although to be fair, for a British guy to have Silverstone as his bogey circuit is about the most British thing you can get.
That's true. No one's allowed to actually do well in their home circuit.
Which tyre setup are you taking?
Ooh, see now I'm going to go with balanced because I seem to shred my tyres on this game no matter what the fuck I do. So
I'm tempted to go softer, but I'm not going to. Balanced.
Ultra softs don't do too badly around here, to be fair, but it's just if there's going to be a front wing that goes, it's going to be mine.
Well, you say that, but I get chewed alive by the Wall of Champions.
Ah, okay.
Which is a rather grandiose name when I crash into it.
You're just champion.
Champion pal.
Be up.
Also, just I've already discussed this with you, but for those listening, we might be interrupted at some point during this session because I, as part of my annual review of Formula One team's merchandising policies, have placed an order with McLaren and Scuderia Toro Rosso, and DHL are delivering those things this morning. So it could be that we get that live during the recording, and then you can join me in unboxing these things instead of qualifying.
Yes. That sounds amaze to me.
Right then, let's. What's going on here? How did I? It's going to be dry, isn't it? I'm going to assume it's going to be dry.
I'll have a look in the smidgeroo.
Right. Is your setup ready to be shared?
It is now that I've got it in. Although to be fair, it's not massively different to default.
Go on,
So,
lay it on me.
Wings 6 and 5.
4-4.
Ooh. 75-70 for throttles.
77 on both.
Ooh. The 3.0, 5 point, no, -3, then -1.5, 0.11 and 0.35.
Ooh, we're close but not the same. -3.1, -1.6, 0.11 and 0.34.
Ooh. How very George Michael of you. 6 is all the way on the suspension.
Oh, mate. No. 7-7-5-5-4-5.
Ooh. Brakes 65% and then my usual 62% on the brake bias.
80%, 61%. We can tell who's harder on the brakes.
Yeah. 23.0 and 21.5.
23.8, 22.7.
Ooh. And 7 on the ballast.
Oh, we always sync up on the weight distribution.
Ah.
It's part of our special bond.
Exactly. I've got quite a lot of weight to distribute, so there's got to be something going around somewhere. Flop.
I have to say though, this is, I believe, the first round of the season that I'm running less downforce than you.
Yes. So, I have a particular problem with Sector 1 and also the chicane before the hairpin. So essentially all of the corners on the circuit where I have a habit of wanting to run wide. Oh God, I've gone all Jonathan Ross. So I find that even though it's slower, really, I'm more consistent if I stick more wing on over the course of like a stint.
I get that because, I mean, to be honest, that's how I've got my points this year. This has been my best opening 6 rounds in all the time we've been doing this, and I put it down to the fact that I've been trying to avoid just chasing the straight line speed by dropping downforce and instead trying to regain the time in the corners, and I think it does actually make the difference. I could see you, don't want to jinx it, but I could see you maybe performing better than me because even though I'm a little bit more slippery, I think actually, particularly the hairpin, you can lose a lot of time by being too slippery.
Yes, definitely. And because my PC is really on the limit with running this game nicely, it feels like it is anyway. It might not be at all. But, oh Bottas, you've already done your lap. Go away. And I'm running this on like a really small window. I feel like I don't have the precision of the lovely 1080p that I get on PlayStation 4 on that version, and so I feel like I'm still suffering slightly with not being lazy, but I'm not nearly as consistent. Oh, Bottas. Right, I'm straight into the pits for a new front wing.
You should be kind to him because he could be your next world champion.
I know! What's going on with this merry-go-round seat unless they stick in like Rossi or something?
I just want to say though, it's impressive even for us that a driver can retire and come out of retirement before we've had time to report on it.
I know! I what do you think on that? Because I actually don't want Massa to come back.
To be honest, I don't either, but I completely understand it. Pat Simmons, before he got fired, said, well, we don't want to let Bottas go because we need a yardstick to compare performance between last year's car and this year's car, and that means we need a consistency in the drivers. Yeah. And like that to me made like insanely good sense. Because you need someone who their performance in the previous season's car, and then you can use them as a yardstick. I get that. So to me, it was pretty obvious that we were going to see Massa at least approached, because credit to Williams, then they're not standing in Bottas's way, which you'd think they probably would go out of their way to do it, because I think he's out of the two, he's the one you want still in the car, right? I mean,
yeah.
Massa's best is long behind him, but you never know. He might actually be a good non-threatening mentor figure for Stroll, because it is going to be his last season, whatever happens, I think. And so he's got no reason to try and outperform Stroll necessarily, or to be too hard a rival towards him. And instead can just focus on doing his job for the team and then taking that nice retirement check back.
Yeah, I guess for me, and it's an interesting one as to why I'm surprised that they haven't gone to Jenson Button either at the moment, is that when you mentally check out, I think a lot of that changes how you approach things, and I don't know if it's easy enough to put yourself back into it again. And maybe Massa's easier to get the mental note back in again, because I think he knew his end was coming, so he leapt before he was pushed in a way. Whereas Button's just gone, oh fuck it, I've had enough, and maybe the mental tuning isn't necessarily there for him. I don't know.
To be honest, I mean, I would have liked to have seen Button come back, just because I feel he deserves a better end to his career than the one he got.
Yes.
But there was no chance he'd say yes. Even if people were talking about him being offered the Mercedes seat as a 1-year stopgap until they could get Bottas. And on the face of it, that made sense. And I would like to see Lewis and Jenson back together again, get the old band together.
Yeah.
But if I, looked in my heart of hearts, I could honestly see him going, no, fuck that. Not interested, no sale. Which is a shame. I don't know where he's going to end up popping up. But I had a really good dream the other night, actually, that Manor announced a lineup that was Mark Webber and Jenson Button.
Well, Ron Dennis is apparently looking to buy them out. He's now put in a bid for them, so that could be more truer than you thought.
I actually want that to happen. He'll take back the Project 4 name, I guess. Or it'll be, Ron Dennis Racing by Ron Dennis. And in any case, I want to see it happen, because that's a team they're already in negotiations with a new investor anyway, but if they can get Big Ron as the majority shareholder and this new investment will come in, I mean, given how they improved year on year this year, it'll be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Although he wouldn't put Jenson in the car. He fucking hates Jenson, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's true. I forget
some kind of irrational problem with him that I don't know what it is.
More British charm.
I also have to say that I am quite impressed actually by Alonso. I don't know if he's saying it because he knows that his contract's watertight or something, but I honestly, and maybe this was unfair to him, I honestly expected him to be on the first fucking plane to wherever Total Wolf lives, flowers, tin of chocolate in hand, ready to sort of schmooze his way into that seat. Popping
himself in a deck chair in front of him, going, personal meme!
and he just sort of said, no, I want to stay at this team, I want to win championships with this team, which kind of made me lol a little bit, but he committed outright. He even took time in the off-season to go to the factory, speak to the guys and say, look guys, I'm sticking around, we're in this together, and I'm serious about my commitment to you. And I thought,
hats off.
Him and McLaren having that kind of relationship, I just didn't understand. Then he came out 2 days later and said, you know what, this is the best team I've ever worked in. He said, I know we haven't had the results and stuff, but the atmosphere within the team is really good. I trust the guys that I'm working with, and I believe they're capable of turning it around. And I thought, where is this coming from? Are you trying to tell us you're going to retire?
Because you
I could
do
see him
wonder
retiring
how
next
long.
year.
Yeah, you could. Because you kind of think, well, how long do you have? And I know that's really sad because as soon as you become like 35, it's like, well, time's a ticking, and it shouldn't necessarily be like that because he's clearly still as wily and as determined as ever, and has some saucy nicks in him. But you do kind of think, time is a ticking on that project.
It never used to be like that.
No.
I was watching the 1994 French Grand Prix, as you do, and Nigel Mansell was partnering Damon Hill after the tragic loss of Ayrton Senna.
Yeah.
41 years old.
Yeah.
Qualified 4th on the grid.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It used to be that being young in Formula 1 was the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
It was quite common to only get into F1 in your 30s.
Yeah, yeah.
Period. End of. Oh, look at us.
Oh, hello.
13th and 14th. You can tell we're out of practice though. It's been a few weeks since we've done this because previously we'd be this close together, but in the top 10.
Yes.
I watched us back while I was making dinner.
Oh God.
I have to say that in qualifying this year, if not race, you and I have been poo hot, my friend.
I like the sound of being poo-poo hot.
No, I mean compared to our previous years, absolutely, it's been our best year for qualifying, hands down.
Mhm. Oh no, I agree. Oh.
I'm gonna take a look at the gap separating us now. What is the line between us? I'm struggling though. I think I actually did better in my single player with Sauber with the same setup, but I guess it's just the byproduct of it being a different car, I guess, and me being a little bit. I was drinking yesterday, and
same.
I don't think it really helps, does it?
It focuses the mind in the morning. I think I'm gonna have to go again though because Verstappen's behind me, so he's going to improve. I don't feel safe. And I can go a second faster because I was until I bungled the Wall of Champions on my lap.
Oh, don't go a second faster. I'm gonna have issues around self-esteem.
Oh, Benji.
Yeah, the gap between us is like a bee's dick, as Mark Webber would say. Minus 0.097.
Oh wow.
That's not even. That's not even a full hundredth.
I tell you what, you couldn't even get a celebrity death in between that.
No. You are faster than me in sector 3, and I beat you in sector 1 and 2. But I mean, by the narrowest of margins.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go out again on the same old tyres. I don't think I can improve, but.
Excuse me, Becky Babs.
Why not? Look at you blocking my garage.
Soz.
Every year, every fucking year.
My diva moment.
So, let's continue, shall we, with the F1 news. Something I really wanted to talk about was the announcement that Toro Rosso are rebranding their Renault engine.
Yes, and this confuses me greatly.
Now, I mean, I get it, right? Part of the deal is that they get to take the Renault name off the engine, same as Red Bull. And, you know, you might think that they just tag Heuer both engines, but they seem pretty intent on having both teams have separate sponsor portfolios, I guess, so they're not over-reliant on any one partner, and so each team has its own budget, its own source and everything, which I suppose is you know, responsible way of doing business. But it does seem to me, I'm trying to think of current sponsors that Toro Rosso have that could put their name on the engine, and the only one I can think of is Casio.
Get out the little calculators and little miniature keyboards. Oh, and it'd be good to have the rear wing as a piano on the back. Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's like a watch thing, right? Because Casio used to be the official official watch sponsor of Red Bull Racing until Red Bull decided Tag Heuer was much more glamorous, and then they passed the Casio Cash off to Toro Rosso. So unless they bring a new, oh, I'm sorry, my other half is phoning me, and I've just put it into the Wall of Champions.
What has she done to you? What has she done to you?
Oh, she just phoned my mobile and it was buzzing on my desk, and that's why I sounded distracted. Now she's calling the home phone, and I don't know if it's important or not.
Pause out.
I tell you what, right? I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna drive round at AI speeds and
watch you improve.
You can have the stage to yourself, sir.
Okay, sir.
For just a brief moment.
So yes. So my big thing around the Toro Rosso rebranding is hasn't Renault improved the engine enough, and haven't they already been through each other in thick and thin? And to me it just smacks of Red Bull being actually quite bitchy, because Renault is still, I know it's not the best engine out there, but it's massively improved. It's going to potentially project Red Bull back into a championship battle next year, because it's not Tag Heuer that are specifically engineering the thing, which is why I think I get so angry at the whole shebang. So I just sit there and think, well, they're not. Where's the love, I guess? Because how are you supposed to build a partnership in trust with each other when you won't even put your fucking name on the thing? I get when Renault done it with Mechachrome, because Renault had left, even though they'd kind of left the old engines behind. So that kind of makes sense to me. But alright, Jeff. That didn't feel very good. Okay, still half a second up. And it's not as if Renault have left. So, I mean, what are Renault going to do with the Renault car engine? Are they going to They're going to call it on Banana Del Monte? The Renault Del Monte.
Him say yes.
So yeah, I was a bit like, not great.
Amazing. I paused the game and thought that the AI would continue to drive, and I just drove straight into a barrier.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
Ah.
I'm not going to make it out of Q1 apparently.
Oh no. That's no good. See, because
16th will get me through, right?
16th is through, but Verstappen is 17th. That's why I went again.
Yeah, I might be out of the picture here.
Oh no. We've not had a Q1 exit all year.
It's a traditional bogey zone. Kind of makes sense, I suppose. Do you have the live timing screen by any chance?
No, I'm stuck on watching everyone go around and finish the lap.
It'd be good if Verstappen was finished the lap.
Let me see if he's actually... Oh, Ricardo's just gone fastest. Oh, he's not even out on track.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're through, mate.
By the skin of my teeth, despite the best efforts of my long-term partner. Where are you?
7th or 8th.
Fucking hell, look at that. Yeah, you are a full second faster than me. I don't think I can go any faster than I've gone till now. I don't think it's possible.
Okay, well now...
Look, I'm ahead of Haryanto, and that's all that really matters.
Yay! Oh no, that's a Williams going across. That's Massa. Yeah, so we get stuck on this weird countdown clock thing for 3 minutes before it lets you move on to the next session. They need to. It's a weird bug, and I don't get why.
You, sir, are the fastest man in Sector 3 by a noticeable margin.
Oh wow! It was a very good way that I took the chicane, but I thought the final corner was a bit dodgy. So.
You've gained just shy of 2 full tenths over the next fastest.
Wow.
Oh, actually, no, I misread that. You're still fastest, but Rosberg's really close. But you and him are like 2 tenths faster than Ricciardo, who's next down the road.
Oh.
You are 5 tenths faster than me in sector 3. So whatever time you found there was good. It was time well spent.
Fabaroo, I'm glad I won again.
Now, of course, like just bringing it round again, what this really does bring into sharp relief is what the devil happens to Master's seat after he retires again.
Yeah, because it's delaying the inevitable, and I think for Williams specifically, I love that Verstappen has been eliminated in Q1. Oh, and Gutierrez has got a 5-place grid penalty. Was that for taking off Verstappen? No, he collided with Hamilton. LOL.
Amazing. This is the best day ever.
I'm so happy. Poor old guts. Yeah, because when it comes to 2018, Stroll was only going to have 1 year experience. Does that then suddenly make him capable of being able to run a team on his own if he's good? Where would you go? Would you not think, well, we've got that stupid Di Resta kicking around, and it also smacks of we don't trust Adrian Sutil either, if he's supposed to be there as a tester.
I think Sutill's been out too long though, hasn't he, really?
I don't know. Did you
Hashtag
go to jail?
Carlo Fisichella.
I saw him in I think it's LMP stuff, or something, and he's still got the Italian charm hairdo with perfect wave.
He's also a DJ.
Really?
DJ Fisichella, yeah.
DJ Gianni.
Which, if you had to name a driver who would go on to become a DJ, you would probably have chosen him, to be honest.
Yeah. I tell you who's another really, really good DJ, and we're going back in time a little bit. Sakon Yamamoto. Apparently,
hey, I want to see it now.
Apparently, amazing as a DJ, and used to do the DJ sets on the F1 circus. Who knew?
Phenomenal balls. Excuse me. I agree with you completely, though. It is kind of delaying the inevitable. I think it's because it's a change in formula. I think that's why it's so important for them to have Bottas or Massa. Because they're a team that's serious about not letting the gains they made drift away completely. Mm-hmm. That's why they've. The thing is, like they've demoted Smeders. Apparently, he's not going to be coming to so many races anymore. Like, he's still in charge of vehicle performance, but like one side of it, and he's going to be mostly at the factory. And that to me sounds like a demotion. They say it's not, but it sounds like one. And my problem with that is, he had his first year, and they kept saying the pit stops are all wrong. We're losing too much time in the pit stops. We need to get on top of it. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
This year, they've had the fastest pit stop of the season. They've been the fastest pit crew at 13 out of 21 races.
Yeah.
Which is the one thing they asked him to do,
yeah.
And he's done it, especially well, and now he's punished. See you later, Massa. Oh, actually, no. I need to adopt the new quote, which we'll take from our favourite Mexican.
Oh yeah.
Do you like my pace? Do you like it? Did you hear that?
No, that sounds alluring yet sinister, all at the same time.
It was Sergio Perez on the radio. I forget which round now. It was towards the end of the season, and he just got on the radio to his race engineer and went, "Do you like my pace? Do you like it?" When we're done, Google it. It's the most erotic motorsport moment ever. You could see him there reclining on a couch with a medallion,
a cigar,
nestled in the hairs on his chest, shirt open to the waist.
A cigar and a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So now I'm going to make it my catchphrase all year when I'm talking to Jeff. Do you like my pace, Jeff? Do you like it? So for me, like it all kind of made sense. I would have pulled Massa up as well. The only thing I can't really get my head around is who is going to replace Massa afterwards. Maybe they pull in Nico Rosberg out of retirement. Maybe he gets bored after a year on the sidelines, but I don't see it. I think it's in the last of Nico Rosberg in Formula One.
Yeah, I think he's caught his break and won, and then gone, and then escaped quite happily. So yeah, I don't see that one happening. But there's
the whole retirement of Rosberg actually has made me realise what a complete dick Lewis Hamilton is, as if he needs to be reminded. But sorry, go on. You were going to say.
No. Actually, that's quite an interesting segue because I think it was Brundle that tweeted it. But like, what is the cost of a nice place to work? And you were saying about how Alonso was saying something like McLaren's the best place that he's ever worked at, and even though he's not winning and he misses being in championship fights, he's more happy to be there than to go somewhere else. And you had this championship winning team where one driver retires after winning at the end of the year and the other one threatened to quit after they came together in Spain. What the fuck? Wow, shut that door any louder. You don't even live in my house, and yet my whole flat shook. And I suppose for me, that kind of then makes me go, at what cost is it to run at a top team? Is it a poisonous atmosphere at Mercedes? Is it that they are set up in such a... It's going to sound really, really stereotypical, but like in a German precision type environment where gains must be made at any cost? What is the toll? Because it's nigh on impossible that you would think of that kind of situation where Mercedes could have actually lost both drivers because they've just fucking had enough of being there.
Well, I mean, you hear a lot from like people like Ross Brawn saying that, well, Lauda and Wolff are not to be trusted, and I can kind of see that. I mean, the thing is, like, I like Toto Wolff. I think he's one of the few team principals that he just says it. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem particularly corporate when he speaks, but enough people have said it now. Enough people that I've got respect for within the sport that actually him and Lauda together are just untrustworthy. That maybe it's true. Maybe there's something to it, and maybe they ruin the atmosphere. I said I couldn't possibly go any faster.
Yeah.
I just went a second faster.
Hey, good man.
I'm now third between Hamilton and Bottas.
Oh, amaze. I went for super softs, and I don't think that was a good idea.
I gained 6/10 of that gain through the chicane, well, the corners, at the end of the start-finish straight. I just found the right line, apparently, that I've never found before, and I will never find again. It's like the clitoris. You read about it, you know it's there, but impossible.
Cortana, show me where the clitoris is. What?
Hey mate, the Japanese are already working on that. We're not far away.
Actually, segue just very quickly. So I got my dad for Christmas an Amazon Echo, where you have to shout at it, Alexa, do this, that, and the other. And my dad seems to think he's got a really thick Scottish accent, so he's not quite understood that. She doesn't quite understand him at all times, and you get the readout of things that she thinks that he said, and like he'll say things like, "Alexa, where?" Oh, he's gone Mexican. But yeah, I can't do a Scottish accent, and my dad frowns at me for it, because it goes all Indian normally. But he's like, Alexa, tell me of where the nearest Indian restaurant is. And she'll say things like, I couldn't possibly know the answer. And then it reads out things like, is my cock this size? And I think, how on earth is it thought that he said that? And I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, Scottish accents and Alexa, proper lols, but not necessarily helpful.
That again is something you and I share in common. We both have dads with incomprehensible Scottish accents.
Yeah.
I had a school friend who met him once, and he just said to me, "Why does your dad sound like Ramsey Nesbitt?" I was like, because he's Scottish. Amazing.
Oh wow, you're third. Sorry, only 6/10 off as well. That's good.
I broke. I think that's the first time I've ever broke the 1:15s.
Nice.
Problem is now, I feel there's no point in me going out because I'll never beat that time.
No.
I don't. I honestly, it's all Sector 1, the game really. Sector 1 just was a magical experience.
See, now I'm not sure if I'm. Oh, I'm in 10th. I suppose for me, I don't think Grosjean and the Toro Rossos will beat me necessarily, but Ricciardo went out on the super softs and was half a second slower than me. So if he then goes out on the ultra softs, then I'll get bumped. So I feel like I probably do have to go again. Bollocks! I'm running out of tyres.
Yeah, I've just seen a few people improve, so I'm going out again, thinking that maybe the track's better. Because that is something I do notice in this game actually, that you think that's the best lap I could ever possibly do, like it's right on the edge and you constantly worry about losing the time, but then you go out a few laps later and the track's rubbered in and the car just handles completely differently, so we'll give it a...
It's just that annoyingly the tyres now for this is if I go for ultra softs and go out for those tyres again, that means that I'll have put on 6 laps of wear on my ultra softs, which means I'm going to put mega early. That's why I'm a bit like ugh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because pitting early really fucks you over.
I think you'll be alright, mate, to be fair. You're well ahead of the McLaurens by over 6 tenths. So and the Williams are Massa's 4 tenths behind you, so you'll be fine.
See, when I think about it now, I agree with you that you wouldn't let Stroll leave that team after only a season. I just don't see it happening. So what I think is that you would have to, it's non-optional, poach an experienced current F1 driver. I don't see that they gain anything by bringing anyone out of retirement. You're just replacing one old geezer with another.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them actually trying to lure away. I mean, if Hulkenberg wasn't in a multi-season deal with Renault,
yeah,
to me he would have seemed like the obvious choice. Beyond that, I really can't think of who you would go for, because you and I have complained for years that you've got these older drivers that are blocking all this young talent from coming through, and now this year we're being flooded with young talent, and it means there's no sort of safe pair of hand drivers left. Either you've got really expensive former world champions that are approaching retirement, or you've got kids.
Yeah, there's very little in between. And even and when you look at the people that are in between, you've essentially got Hulkenberg and Perez and Grosjean, and that's it. So, and if they're already tied into specific contracts, yeah, sorry, and Bottas as well. But it's
well, Bottas is going to be at Mercedes, we think, and that means that'll be him. I think that'll be him for years.
Yeah. Oh, we've come straight back in.
Yeah, because I was 7 tenths down, and I thought, well, I was right. I can't improve on that time.
Just enjoy it.
And I've just saved myself a lap of wear.
Good man, good man. Right, I am going to. I'm gonna wait and see. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go for it. Although I think Daniel Ricciardo is not going out again, which makes me kind of say, should I? No, fuck it. Let's go again, but let's go on the super softs. Because I don't want to ruin those ultra softs. I need those. And I think I'll do a contra strategy for like what you do.
I was going to say, actually, you're in the top 10 on super soft, so there's only a tenth between you and Grosjean, though.
Yeah,
less
I know.
than a tenth, actually.
That's my worries.
I don't know how I dragged that 115.8 out of that car. It shouldn't be possible. Oh, you've been bumped from the top 10.
Oh, I've just spotted, yeah.
By the narrowest of possible margins.
Excellent.
So I think you'll have him. Yeah, I mean the other person that sort of leaps to mind is Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
And I'm still angry at Toro Rosso for not letting Sainz go. Because it's obvious he's not going to go to Red Bull. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Ricciardo passed up an opportunity to chase the Mercedes seat. He could have. I think he probably could have got it if he'd wanted it.
Yeah.
But I think, like most people, he knows that next year you have to favour Red Bull to be the one to produce the winning car. I think it's pretty obvious that most people expect them to be the car to beat. Verstappen obviously is going nowhere.
No.
So, is Sainz going to be consigned forever to drive the Toro Rosso? I mean, they're being ambitious next season. I saw Franz Tost say that he rates Sainz incredibly highly, which we all do.
Yep.
And says that, well, we need him where he is because we want to be ahead of Williams and Force India next year in the constructors. And I believe actually that could be an achievable target for them.
Oh yeah.
Because aerodynamically their cars have always been really good, and this year they've been poor simply because they've got a year-old engine. But once they're back on Renault power, a current generation Renault power, you have to say that if anyone can do it, it's probably Sainz. But surely it has to be his last year at Toro Rosso. They have to find it within themselves to let him go, because he just won't renew his contract. He'll it's better to go on good terms, I think, than to go on weak terms.
Definitely. No, I agree. And I'm going to shush because I've only got one quarter left to go. But
all right, I'll do the talking then. I mean, for me, they need to let him go. He needs to find a team where he can plug in for a multi-year deal.
Yes.
I know everyone's saying that it's entirely possible. Oh, mate, nice! Both in the 115s.
Whew, my nipples are sweaty.
On a slower tyre.
Sorry, I don't normally go quiet, but because that actually looked like it was going to go all right, I was like, oh.
No, it's fine. I think Sainz needs to find a multi-year deal at a established team.
Yes.
I know everyone's saying that Perez has got like a under the table deal with Ferrari to replace Kimi Raikkonen, which makes pretty good sense to me. And then Grosjean's tied to Ferrari. Ferrari themselves say we want to actually try and promote one of our young drivers.
Yeah.
But to me, Sainz would be a good fit for Ferrari.
I think he would.
You think?
I think he would. But then instantly my mind goes back to Jean Alesi, which is the last time that you saw someone who was ridiculously flamboyant in their driving style and relatively emotional in that team. And I guess potential versus results, I kind of wonder if they've gone like a once bitten twice shy kind of thing, like they don't ever stick in an Italian, that kind of thing. And if they're looking at their junior drivers for the future, the only two that I can think of that are tied to it are Antonio Giovinazzi.
Oh, sorry, mate. Continue talking. The DHL man is here. We're going to have our unboxing.
Oh, what a good ending. So yeah, Antonio Giovinazzi, who is Italian, who I don't think will ever get to Ferrari, even though he's actually quite a decent driver, actually, and has done some very good stuff in lower formulae. And Charles Leclerc, who I think will end up being in Haas in 2018, alongside Grosjean, because I don't think... Well, I know, is Magnussen a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal? I can't remember, but whoever wins out of that battle, Charles Leclerc will be their replacement for next year. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. Looking at this Q3, though, what the hell is Gutierrez doing into Q3? Gutierrez went suspiciously well in my single-player playthrough at this circuit and scored 10 points, which is more than he's ever done in his entire career, so I was very confused. So that is weird. But yeah, we are entering this period where you've got loads and loads of champions who are all like, yay, champions retiring. And I think over the next 2 years, almost the entire F1 field will be refreshed. And that's why I think a lot of people are getting so excited over the new names of, or new quote-unquote names, like Verstappen, Ocon, Verline potentially. that kind of thing, because they're the first of the new wave in, and then they instantly become the established people, but they're not really established because they've only done a season or two, so it makes it very difficult, I think. Long term. Lol, no Red Bulls in Q3 as well. That does make me giggle. I'd be very interested to see who Mana signs, actually. And that is, I think, entirely dependent on their buyout, because they will either have money or not. Actually, and the last person that I think could be very good for Williams, and Peter Windsor it was that said this, is Felipe Nasr. So Felipe Nasr was their test and third driver at Williams back in 2014, 2015 times. Not 2015, 2014, 2013 times. So maybe Felipe Nasr could be the little slide in, even though he doesn't have the Banco do Brasil money to help float Williams along the way. I
would concur with that. I mean, he was always sort of the Williams protege, wasn't he, Nasr?
Yeah. I hear unwrapping of goods.
Yeah.
We're going to do a live unwrapping. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, McLaren have let us down. Their package wasn't in this truck, apparently.
So
this is
today?
From... I have no idea, mate.
Maybe it'll come in Q2.
So, but it says that a lot. So what we have here is from Scuderia Toro Rosso. Delivered within 24 hours of being ordered, so that's pretty good. Shipped from Austria. The package is torn in 2 places and smells incredibly strongly of cigarettes, but I blame that on the DHL man and not on Toro Rosso. So it was end of season sale time at Toro Rosso, and this, what I have here, is the official team line hoodie, which was previously an astonishing, I think it was just shy of €85.
What?
And I got it for 58. So, you know, not a bad discount. Toro Rosso and Red Bull were actually giving the second highest rate of discounts across the range for the end of season sale. Right, let me just unpack this so we can get on. Now, actually, I have to say, this is really good quality. This is really, really well made. There you go. Listen to that. That's the sound of a quality zip. Let me pop this on really quick, see if it actually fits. It's got a nice fleecy inside.
Do you like a fleecy?
Oh yeah. Oh boys, this is good stuff.
Are you feeling France toasty?
I'm feeling nice and toasty, but yeah, recommended. There you go.
Hey.
Toro Rosso and Red Bull were actually they're the number 2 team for this year in terms of merchandise, which probably we'll cover a little bit later on. But there you go. Oh, that was a live unpacking. The item itself does not smell of cigarettes, but the packaging definitely does. So 10 out of 10 from Red Bull, 4 out of 10 from DHL. That's my review of Christmas.
Oh, boo. Never mind.
So, sorry, that's the last time I should have to leave while we're recording here. So my understanding is that you would put Nasr in the Williams seat.
That's the only other outsider that I could think of that would be worthwhile going for. And we shall pick this up on... Oh no, should we just continue? No, we don't do the... Oh, sorry, I'm so used to splitting qualifying and race. We'll do an epic New Year edition and continue on.
Well, because every time we split it,
it goes horribly wrong, doesn't it?
It goes horribly wrong, and we have to record qualifying again.
That is true. Keep
I'm still have Q3 anyway.
Oh yeah, we've got Q3. Sorry, I'm so...
This is our slowest episode ever because I have to keep leaving.
Yeah, so that is an interesting thing, I think, is that Nasr is the only other person that's on the grid, because I don't think they'd put Di Resta in. I don't think... Well, they're not going to put Sutil in. That's the only person that's left.
I mean, it becomes even more interesting when you remember that Maurizio Uribe and Sergio Marchionne have both said that Ferrari are interested in fielding an Alfa Romeo branded team in Formula One in the next few years, as a way to sort of, they want to copy the Red Bull Toro Rosso model, which makes a lot of sense actually, because Ferrari have been historically terrible at developing their own drivers.
Yes.
And they've got a young driver academy at the moment that contains some pretty interesting drivers that they've got no reliable partner outside of Haas these days to try and bring people into Formula 1, and Haas are remaining stubbornly independent with who they choose, to the point that they've hired K-Mags and binned off Esteban Gutierrez despite Ferrari's support for the Goot.
Thank God.
Before we go on though, I feel like I have to say I desperately want this Alfa Romeo team to happen.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'd like to see that.
I really want it to happen. But the thing is, like, once that team is founded, I think they would have to do what Toro Rosso did when they first entered the sport, which was they didn't bring young drivers in right away, right? They took Vittorio Liuzzi, who was the Rubens Barrichello of the time, middle-aged and bald, even though he was young.
And Scott Speed. They were both rookies that year. Well, no, Liuzzi had done 4 races for Red Bull the year before.
Force India, wasn't it?
No. So when Toro Rosso joined in 06, Liuzzi had done 4 races for Red Bull because he was supposed to share the seat equally with Klein, but Klein done really well that year, so he didn't get as many chances, and Speed was a rookie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, you are correct. But to me, I don't see Ferrari founding this team and then just bringing in two kids. So then you start to think, well, when they've got the drivers they've got now, Kimi's probably going to retire, Vettel's out of favour, and then you've got Ricciardo, you've got Grosjean, you've got Perez, all current, highly skilled, highly respected drivers that are all tied to driving for Ferrari in some way within the rumour mill. Then you've got the 2 young drivers, and now Carlos Sainz is in the mix as well as a driver who is incredibly available for the future. It does make you wonder. Oh, I thought I was going to break the 115s again, and I didn't. Such a fool.
We drove that one with you. It was good. What was I going to say? Yeah, because they are bulking up their driver collections. I suppose I wonder if that's in anticipation of the Alfa Romeo, because would you put one experienced driver in there to put alongside their creme de la creme youngster, be that Giovinazzi, Leclerc, or whoever else pops into the Ferrari test bed, or do you go for 2 youngsters to battle it out but not necessarily have a big yardstick? Because I always felt that was, I used to love it when you'd see Buemi and Alguersuari going at it hammer and tongs, but because neither one outshined the other, and I'd argue that with Verne and Ricciardo neither outshined the other particularly either, it was, you kind of end up going, right, well, we don't quite know which one to bring, so we'll bin the pair because neither of you are the star. But I guess that's just
that's the Red Bull way of doing things, though, isn't it? I think to some extent, because the Red Bull interest in the sport is supremely corporate. They've done a very good job of making it seem like, well, at least initially, less so since the Vettel era, but when they first entered the sport, they did a really good job of trying to come across as like the Jordan, I suppose, the rock and roll, a bit unconventional, super cool. We don't take ourselves too seriously kind of team.
Yeah. And
that image has totally been shattered recently. And you see, actually, it's a relentless corporate machine.
Yeah.
In the way that everyone accuses Mercedes of being.
Yes.
Now, I don't think Ferrari could be excluded from that group either, to be honest.
No.
But I as much as I'd like to see Leclerc and Giovinazzi, or whatever his name is, coming together, I do sort of feel like Ferrari's always been a team that errs away from youth in favour of experience, and I do sort of feel like they take someone experience to be the lead driver for that team, to get it off to a rolling start.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something in their nature that wouldn't let the team be a complete unknown. Because particularly the rules prevent them running identical cars, right? If they could just field 4 Ferraris and just call 2 of them Alfa Romeos, I think they'd feel much more confident putting 2 young drivers into the mix straight away. But
yeah.
Ferrari being Ferrari, I think, well, if they're going to have to basically run as a team, they will take an older known quantity to spearhead that team, and then it will be down to Leclerc and Giovinazzi to fight to the death with shovels to decide who gets that second seat.
What would happen if Alfa Romeo came in and outdone Ferrari one year?
That's a good question, but I mean, it's something we saw happen with Toro Rosso and Red Bull, right? I mean, yes. I don't think they finished the season ahead of them, but there's been times they've been outperformed by Toro Rosso, yes. And it's always a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
You sort of feel stupid on behalf of them somehow. But I honestly think they'd be okay with it to some degree, because what they want to do is sell cars. And whether they're selling Alfa Romeos or Ferraris, I don't think they're necessarily too bothered, because they're appealing to 2 different markets. So if Alfa Romeo start beating Ferrari, well, I don't think that makes owning a Ferrari any less desirable, but it might boost the sales of Alfa.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, for them, they've got less to lose out of the corporate exercise, because you'd have to work really hard to make a Ferrari undesirable.
Yeah. That's true. Even if they're exploding everywhere, everyone's still like, it looks so pretty. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Because, there's still something magical about owning a Ferrari. Renault, on the other hand, that's why you tend to see them dip in and out of the sport. Or when they feel like their period of success is coming to an end, they're very quick to pull the plug. Because it's far easier to damage their brand through poor performance. It's also why we haven't seen Ford back in F1 since the Stewart days. Stewart and Jaguar, because they realised that actually being mediocre in Formula 1 can actually damage their brand, because it shows that they can't play with the big boys like Ferrari and McLaren that don't necessarily have to try so hard. I mean, I'd argue McLaren falls into that same group as well. I mean, I know they're probably going to be a bit tight for cash, but owning a McLaren is still like an aspirational thing, and even if the team is doing crap on the track, people still look at a McLaren P1 and drool and go, that is a masterpiece and I want it in my life. Yeah,
because they've got and they have a brand image that goes beyond Formula 1, because when you look at endurance cars and things like that, everyone still salivates over them. I look at them and I go, cool. And I don't even follow endurance racing particularly, but everyone is all like gyrating over their cars, and so it doesn't really matter if their F1 performance isn't great, because they've got so much else to fall back on. Whereas, like, who goes like, oh, Ford, that kind of thing, do they? And it doesn't matter if they are like powering all of these lower formulae or whatever and doing really, really well. It just all kind of falls to shit, because they just aren't a sexy manufacturer.
I think this is also why VW Audi haven't bothered.
Well, yeah, because no one's going to sit there and go, fucking hell, that Audi's hot as fuck. Are they?
Yeah, no, they're not. And the gain for them, I think, the potential gain doesn't make the risk any less so. I think we're coming to the, we've had the privateer era, and we've had the manufacturer era, and I think that time's coming to an end. I'm a little bit surprised that we saw Honda come back, to be honest. I mean, I was happy about it, but I think to some degree, even though the sponsorship money is drying up and that it's not as attractive to blue chip sponsors as it used to be, I still get the feeling that, at least in terms of car manufacturers, it's a blue chip sport, more so than perhaps ever before. And it's very hard now for businesses to make the case to their shareholders and investors that F1 makes sense outside of super luxury brands. Especially when you look at how like viewing figures are constantly being shown as declining, and actually the way how you can access Formula 1 is becoming much more what's the word I'm thinking of, like
it's an exclusive club almost, because you've got to go for the channel, and then from 2020 it's not even going to be on terrestrial TV. So you kind of think, well, how am I getting to an audience that isn't already a captive audience that are going to watch anyway and will know what we are potentially?
Precisely. I mean, I don't think we'll see a return to, Renault's period of dominance in F1, for example, in the 90s, and then they did the Williams F1 branded Clio. That's still one of the most desirable everyday cars out there.
Yeah.
You just don't see that anymore, and you won't see it again, I don't think. I think we're now at a period in the sports life cycle where you need to be a brand that's too big to be affected by failure in Formula One, and just the fact that you can make it to the grid is a mark of prestige to some degree.
Yeah.
I think it genuinely is moving that way. I'm waiting, to be honest, for Red Bull to begin manufacturing cars, because they've already partnered with Aston Martin to have a Red Bull branded Aston Martin. They've considered producing their own engines. I honestly think that the Red Bull F1 project can end in only one of two ways. Either they go fully in on a business that benefits tangentially from Formula One in a way that energy drinks probably don't, or they pull out at the end of their commitment period. Oh wow, look at you! Fourth on the grid.
Oh,
it's pretty spectacular.
You a nice little top 8. Nicely done. You nearly got back in the 15s again.
I could have been faster. I think I probably could have made 6th if my lap had come together, but I fluffed it at the Wall of Champions. I chickened out, and I felt I was going to, if I kept my pedal to the floor, that I was going to twat the barrier and ruin everything. And I eased off a little bit too much, and it's amazing how, I'm sure in real F1 it's magnified 100 times, but even within the middle-of-the-road simulation of Formula One, just chickening out that little bit can cost you like 2-3 tenths. It's incredible. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh.
But I'm happy we both made the top 10. At the start of the session, I didn't think that was going to happen.
No, I thought we was going to end up out in Q1. So that
yeah.